Yeah, baby. Yeah. The Mac is back. Back with another video. Hello, the initiated. My name is Marcus Junikala, and today we're checking out Zero G's ETHERA Gold Odyssey. Pretty difficult to keep up with the naming system because you got so many layers to go through, but we shall attempt to do our best to do so. Let's go to the website here to learn what this thing is. So, subtitled Angelic Voices and Celestial Harmonies. Also, I should probably take off my headphones now that we're ready to film. I won't be needing these ones. There we go, that's a lot better. A good walkthrough video, I'm sure. Haven't checked it out myself yet, but they tend to be very enlightening. Might as well touch on the price as it's here. $76.95. That's pretty specific. Probably converting from some currency, maybe pounds, because I think Zero G is a UK company, I believe. But full price, this seems to be $89.95. So a bit of a discount there. I don't know exactly percentage-wise. Is that like 10 or something? But I suspect that's the intro price of this. They also say VAT will be calculated at checkout. So in case VAT applies to you, it's gonna come at you. It's gonna put you in your place. Hopefully not too big of a hit for you. Important, ETHERA Gold Odyssey requires the full edition of Contact 6.8 or higher. It's not going to work with free Contact Player, so keep that in mind. Total size over 7 gigs. I don't know why these are in two different boxes, like contact files. So yeah, this is definitely something that I would love to see Zero G improve, is the look of the website. They are sort of a bit dense and a bit scattered maybe. So I would love to see an improvement in my estimation on that front, because it would probably lead to more sales, and I think they deserve it. Because my experience with Zero G has been nothing but positive so far. And especially I'm the most familiar with the ETHERA lineup, which I'm extremely positively my disposition towards that. That's not a good sentence, but I do really, really love myself some ETHERA libraries. I think I started with ETHERA 2.0, and we've had a lot of libraries since then. And it was already back then, like, I think the best in its class in terms of sample library-based solo vocal libraries. And it's been a long time since ETHERA 2, and we've come a long way. And these are like, I don't know, 5 times better, even more than that, 10 times better than what ETHERA 2.0 was. They emphasize, obviously, samples are 100% original and royalty-free for musical use. This I actually do really like, because this is not something that is often super obvious or clarified with a lot of companies. Obviously, if you run a company that sells samples and you don't do this, probably not the best business model, or best for your, certainly for your customers. But it's interesting because this is kind of like a key piece of information. I wouldn't necessarily put it there because it kind of should be obvious. I would sort of maybe put it somewhere later. But yeah, I don't know. You let me know what you think. Trade-offs in both directions. You can click here to see what people say. So there are some reviews here. Looks pretty 5 out of 5. So I think instead of reading a bunch of more of this here, I think we probably go to the manual, because I feel like it was better presented than this. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff happening here on the website. I think this could be optimized a lot from like a business and also like sales funnel type of perspective, and also a brand perception type of a thing, because this is a bit cluttered, I would say. Let's go through these ones because they are sort of more easily laid out here. What's included? 27 multi-sampled contact instruments. That's a lot. I've said this before, like I think ETHERA libraries and also zero-G libraries in general, in my estimation, but the ETHERA lineup especially, is bonkers bang for your buck. Like you get so much more than you expect. Because when I get these, I think, okay, I'm just going to get a solo vocal library. But then it's going to have like some atmosphere, synth builder, droney things. The point is there can be, again, I haven't checked this out yet, but there can be a lot more instruments than just the vocals in there. So just something to keep in mind for sure. Over 7 gigs at 24-bit, 48 kilohertz. Okay. Soprano voice, Sarah Müller. That's my best German. Deep sampling, true legato. Angelic, operatic, syllables as well. So yeah, angelic style, operatic style, syllables, and then but probably less sexual than that. Polyphonic syllables and animated syllables. Ooh. Hundreds of vocal phrases from demo standpoint. From a composing music standpoint. 3-layer texture designer. Cool. Minimum system requirements. Intel i5 or ADM equivalent. Running at 3.5 gigahertz. 8 gigs of RAM. Mac OS X 10.11 or above. Windows 10 or 11 with ASIO driver. SSD for sample streaming. You should do that. Full version of Contact 6.8. Then they give some best performance requirements. I guess that's not a system requirement. It's a system suggestion. There's a word I'm looking for. Well, anyway. Again, this information is in the manual. So let's jump actually over there. What I don't see here is the mention of an ETHERA loyalty discount. It's usually somewhere here. Yes, there we go. If you own another ETHERA, save 20% with ETHERA loyalty scheme. Scheming for you. So that's really important to remember. Again, I think that could be clear instead of in this wall of text here. But that's just me as a website designer person with my website designer hat on. Okay, going into the manual. Beautiful image here. Credits, produced, scripted, and designed by Stefano Maccarelli. That's my best Italian. I'm sorry, Stefano, for doing that again. I promise to change my ways. Maybe I can come to Italy someday. I'm pretty sure you're in Italy, right? And you can teach me some proper pronunciation. Vocal supervisor. Again, don't know the official pronunciation. If you were in America, you would say Clara Soros. Soros? Soros? Yes, I guess. Or I wonder if it's Sorace. Is it that? I'm sorry if I butchered it. Clara Sorace. I don't know why I did the hand thing. That's my best attempt. Please don't hate me. Vocals by Sarah Müller. So again, this is zero-G Xphonic, which I think Xphonic is, I think that's Stefano's company, I think. So this is a joint effort from zero-G, who is the publisher of that, and then Xphonic, bringing you Odyssey. So exclusive sonic experience dedicated to angelic voices. A journey. Oh, sorry. I thought that was the end of the sentence. A journey where celestial harmonies and enchanting melodies blend together to create a unique auditory embrace. Oh, that's the only hug I get. Get ready to immerse yourself in a world of pure inspiration, where every note tells a story of emotion and beauty. In Odyssey, we've extensively sampled the voice of soprano Sarah Mueller to capture as much of her expressiveness and natural nuance as possible. Odyssey, well, then we touched on that already. Okay, cool. So here's a summary, actually, of everything in the ETHERA Gold series. Okay, so the naming system gets a bit dense because you got ETHERA series and then it's a Gold series within ETHERA, but there are other ETHERAs as well. Atlantis, Prometheus, ETHERA Gold 2.5, ETHERA Gold Intima Vocals, and ETHERA Gold Sahara Voices. Cool. It's a bit of info about Stefano, award-winning sound designer, composer, 27 years in business. Goddamn, Stefano. A bit about Clara, professional soprano, drammatico, vocalist and recording artist from Italy who's based in Rome. Nice. Studied piano. Okay, cool. Yeah, you can read stuff there. And we've done a bunch of stuff on Stefano and Clara. Everybody knows already who they are. Sarah Claudia Mueller is a German-Greek soprano who lives and works in Italy. She began her music career at the age of 7 with piano and singing lessons, graduated in opera singing at the Santa Cecilia Conservatory in Rome in 2024. Okay, pretty recent graduate. Congratulations, Sarah. Basically a soprano of coloratura with a wide vocal range. She had her debut at the Theatre San Carlo in Naples in collaboration with Europa Incanto in the role of the Queen of the Night from the Magic Flute. That's an epic name. She participated in national, international competitions in the International Radiophonic Competition of Rai Radio 3, Voci in Barcaccia, Largo ai Giovanni. I gotta stop doing this. I'm sure one of you watching is Italian and you're just going like, please stop. Her repertoire embraces Baroque music, as well as Italian, French, and German opera, chamber music, the category lead, and contemporary classical music. Cool. Okay, we touched on this stuff. System requirements, cool. Here's an installation thingamajiggy. That was very simple enough. What I did not manage to set up yet is the quick load feature, which they also do give instructions for here. But where I failed was the gear icon, which I can't find. I would love if they actually had a bit more information here. The only gear I could find is the one in the top right corner, which is really the kind of the weird settings for contact, which is not this. So more information would be nice. I'm sure I'm just a big dummy, which we've all established throughout many of these demos. But yeah, this could be a bit more informational. Going into true legato. So they say it took a lot of work, which I'm sure. They have sampled each interval in up to 2 different legato styles. Okay, so that the user can choose using MIDI velocity which legato interval is preferable for a particular situation. So this is one of the things that has been long in the DNA of the ETHERA series. And it's also been a thing that for a long time I did not understand as myself. And I will say the reason why. Well, first of all, I didn't read the manual. And secondarily, it's not an approach that I personally would use, because when I think about velocity, I tie it to the expression of my playing. Like for a piano, obviously, as I'm playing the piano, if I play harder, it's going to hit harder. Here, it's not necessarily the case. I don't know if, I mean, I would guess if it was two legato styles, the other one would be harder, the other one would be softer, but I'm pretty sure in many cases they just might not have anything to do with kind of the intensity or the hardness or the roughness of the sound. So there might be two different things altogether in the legato thing. We'll have a look at that. We'll test it. I don't know yet. But this is not something I mean, if I would use this velocity approach for a solo vocal library like this, I would expect the harder I hit to bring more brunt into the singing. But I sort of just didn't sort of, what's the word? Expect that, or it wasn't something I would intuitively do when playing. But maybe that's just me. And also when it comes to like specific styles that are just embedded in a certain velocity range, it can be in certain situations kind of difficult to play consistently enough not to trigger the wrong legato. I know it's a 2 split, like 50%, so I can play quiet or loud. That's not that hard, Marcus. But sometimes, depending on what you're doing, you can sort of lose focus, lose sight of that, and not play quiet enough, and then you get the wrong thing, which is fine. You can go into the MIDI editor. As you know, I prefer to just do as little programming as possible. But yeah, that's a very long-winded way of saying I can't play. But just be mindful, there are two different legato styles in the lower velocity range and the higher one. So we'll be testing that. It has been an exceptionally long process. We think that the results have been worthwhile. Cool. In Odyssey, if you play the interval from A3 to G3 with a MIDI velocity between 1 to 77, you will trigger a vowel legato. If you play the MIDI velocity between 78 and 127, you will trigger a legato transition with the syllables. Okay, cool. So again, here, it's not that the louder velocities are going to be more punchier. It's that they have a completely different system altogether with syllables. Again, which is cool if you want to do a bit of syllables, a bit of vowels. So yeah, I wonder why it's not like a complete halfway split, that they went to 77. Maybe they practically just tested that and found that to be kind of a more natural midway point, I would guess. We suggest you experiment with the different MIDI velocity values to find the better legato sound for the context. Cool, yeah. So you want to be super mindful of this, because this is something for a long time I did not understand how it worked. I thought a lot of it was timing based. Silly me. But it was actually velocity. So cool. They have refined the True Legato engine. You can choose between two True Legato instruments, Angelic True Legato and Odyssey True Legato, each with its own set of articulations. Angelic is perfect when you're looking for a very light, angelic vocal tone with just a touch of breathiness. Ooh, that sounds good. You'll find two main articulations. Ooh. I'm pretty sure they don't sound like that, but Odyssey, starting with a slightly more structured vocal sound, our goal was to maintain its inherent lightness while crafting a tone that's a bit more operatic and classical. Okay, it features several articulations: O, expressive syllables, A, and a special short articulation. Okay. Then we got some pretty basic controls over here. There's a big red hat here. This is either because we're about to join the Dark Brotherhood, or it's do not move before you've understood this, Marcus. Standard mode versus adaptive mode. True Legato can be used in 2 modes. Default mode uses a fixed latency set by default at 300 milliseconds. That's not trivial. Ensures a smooth and emotive legato. However, this setting might not be ideal for faster passages. You can adjust the latency with the dedicated slider, reducing it to 100 milliseconds. This lower setting not only minimizes delay, okay, makes sense. Cool. Odyssey, we've also introduced an adaptive mode. This mode lets you adjust the latency and therefore the legato speed according to performance. Yes. Essentially, the system adjusts the legato speed to how fast or slow you're playing. Perfect. I think this is really the way to go. Understand it probably doesn't always do exactly what you want, but that's good. Cool. Adaptive mode and look ahead. When using adaptive, there's a challenge. Typically, legato instruments rely on negative compensation in your DAW to offset latency by default. This is set at 300 milliseconds, so you enter minus 300 milliseconds in your DAW's inspector. Once the events are quantized, this ensures perfect timing for your performance. However, when latency is adjusted according to the speed of your notes, some events might play too early. To avoid having manually edit each note, we've introduced the look ahead function. With that enabled, every note will play with accurate timing, whether in slow passages or faster ones, ensuring that the notes always align perfectly with the grid. Cool. You remember to use the look ahead function only during playback, not when playing in real time. Cool. Vocal phrases. So again, vocal phrases, we're probably going to be light on those, but what? There's a legato mode in the phrases. Glue together, different parts of 2 separate vocal phrases. Okay. Nice. We'll come back to this if we need to, which I'm sure we will need to. But just so we don't spend really too much time on this. So let's take ourselves to the DAW to do this. Let's start playing a bit. Let's do some of the basics first. So transparency, 0D. 0D. If you have 0D going, that's not good. You got to fix that. 0G did send me this library. So first of all, thank you to them for doing so. That being said, all opinions are my own, both in good and bad. I haven't been asked to say anything one way or the other, nor would I ever do that. In terms of what you'll be hearing today, it's only Odyssey in action. I don't add anything on top of that. No EQ, no reverb, no nothing. I only have a limiter on my master bus to make the level more consistent for this video. That being said, it's set to be as transparent as possible so that there is minimal, if any, coloration of the sound. There might be occasional clipping because vocal samples can be wildly fluctuating, let's put it that way. There can be loud resonances very suddenly. So some of those might be clipping the limiter. In that case, I will adjust and pull back. But if you hear clipping, it is the limiter. And certainly if it's not the limiter, I'll let you know. In terms of what we'll be doing today, I'm just going to try and play as much of this right out of the box as possible. We're not going to get super technical. This is mainly to give you an idea of what this sounds like coming straight out of the box and kind of the basics of how it works and whether the sound of this and how it works is for you. So I'll try and touch on absolutely everything that's here. That being said, things like phrases and where there's just a lot more content, we can't cover everything, but I'll try and kind of demonstrate and do snippets of everything in the best possible fashion that I can. Is there anything else? I did just a few hours ago take some new medication, some injectable medication. So I am feeling a bit off, nothing too serious or big, but I thought I would just let you know in case I'm a bit weird or occasionally sort of, look a bit out of it more than usual. So that's what's up. And if I'm a bit unfocused, it's probably due to that. I think that covers the basics here. In terms of this view here, we're going to keep the side panel open here since we have, basically if we want to navigate through the whole library, we're going to need this menu thing here. So looking at the library folder structure, you go into, at least for me in the press release, library, and then 0G ETHERA Gold Odyssey here. And in here we got Angelic, True Legato, Odyssey, True Legato, vocal phrases, polysyllable expressive, polysyllable shorts, syllables short, texture designer, syllables multi, and texture designer presets are in there. And cool, that's the way it's laid out. And we'll keep it there so we can keep things sort of easier to follow for me. But we're going to start off with Angelic, True Legato. So yeah, I mean, beautiful. Already with this configuration, with the louder velocities doing the syllables and the quieter ones doing the vowels, you kind of, you would need to probably play first the part that you wanted to do and see whether the syllables naturally work with that or not. And if they do, if they don't, in certain cases, you probably first try dropping down the velocity for those notes to sort of have a vowel continuation to the first syllable bit to, see whether it works better or not. It might not. But let's see. So I'm guessing this is adaptive on now. It's a bit, obviously it's grayed out, so I would assume it's not on, and now it's on. Yeah, with syllables, you really have to be mindful of the syllable in question, because if you're you have a longer, more complicated syllable and trying to cram it to a fast pace thing doesn't make sense, because it's going to sound rushed, even if it's kind of perfectly scripted or programmed in Contact. So I'm just like messing around here to see what how it behaves, but it's just something you should be mindful of, because syllables are absolutely fantastic when you have sufficient space to play them, and obviously assuming that they fit the song you're trying to pair them to. But yeah, you gotta have sufficient space here. So if I play slowly, mainly, they're gonna work super nicely. So you see how that works really nicely. By the way, the tiny bit of clipping there was from the limiter. It was not the library in question. So yeah, really cool. I'll be trying. I'm trying to. Let's try and play quiet enough to only do the vowels. I don't know what it is. When I play these ETHERA libraries, any solo vocal library, I just want to smash the keys. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like the power that I'm trying to, express. Obviously, none of it translates, but maybe it's just my wanting to bake it in there. So again here, when we're talking about fast, you got to be mindful of the instrument because it's the human voice, obviously. So you shouldn't be asking it to do things that it's not naturally capable of doing. What I'm trying to do here is like a fast da kind of a thing. I don't know why I did that kind of a voice, but let's try it out. So those kind of like really fast, almost like sliding into a note or through a note, those sound really good. It's almost like achieving like a performance level sampling type of thing. Like here, if I go from this D sharp to the G sharp here, and stopping at the F sharp. Like, I didn't play that exactly right. Let me try again. That's a pretty good example. Like, the flow there is super nice, and it sounds realistic, like it's actually sung by someone who's really good at singing, which obviously is the case. But that's really cool. I still haven't managed to do like a faster, sort of a more decorative type of a movement. That is the limiter, because those higher notes get pretty resonant One thing you want to keep in mind, it's a big difference whether the notes overlap or they don't, and you would need to make them overlap. So this is again where my playing ability and the fidelity and dexterity of my fingers comes into play, but I'll try my best. Yeah, I mean, even that works really nicely when you're doing those fast, occasional going to one note and back. You just got to be precise enough with your playing. And if you're not, go into the MIDI editor. And my experience has been that there needs to be like sufficient overlap between the notes so that it knows to interpret your legato, that you actually want to connect the notes. So yeah, I mean, this sounds really, really, really good. The red key here changes the ahs into oohs. So let's do ooh. I'll try and do quiet first. I dare to increase the volume here a bit because it is a bit softer. Yeah, that's the limiter clipping. Sometimes when you're sort of like continuing a phrase or a line, it can give you like a different intensity again to the singing, because it's actually like continuing an actual legato sample, which is, by the way, this is not a criticism. It's wonderful. What makes it sound so good and realistic. But just in terms of the level changes, they can get pretty drastic because it's the voice and has a lot of resonance. So just something to keep an eye on. The clipping was the limiter. Still. Okay. Yeah, again, for example, there was a step between the notes, so it doesn't do the legato. And again here, this is where like my control, I don't know what it is with a voice. Like if I'm playing a piano, I could be super in touch with the velocity and the dynamics here. But if I'm I'm not singing, but I'm playing a solo singer, doing like, I don't know what it is. Like it must be a mental thing. But then if I want to do like fast things, but I still need to play quiet enough, I just the whole deck falls apart. So yeah, that's why I would probably enjoy a different sort of configuration for the velocities. For example, I mean, you can again do this in the velocity editor as well. And I'm sure you can adjust it in here as well. I mean, you can do it under the hood for sure, but yeah, I'm just demonstrating the point of why I cannot successfully play the things that I want to play. Yeah, I mean, this is just beautiful. I mean, I was going to do the walk away already earlier when I was doing kind of the quiet stuff down here, because it's just so beautiful. What I really want to praise here as well is the mod wheel velocity, or sort of, I should say, dynamics control here. Because already naturally, what I really have loved about the ETHERA series for a long time, well, as long as I've been playing any of them, is how natural these, how natural the flow of dynamics is in the sampling itself. So there's that. But then here, this sounds so good as if I want to pull back the ending of a note. Okay, there I came back too fast, so it re-triggered that note. Actually, I don't know why that tail comes up. You can hear the slight whoop, because I didn't play anything, I didn't move. I just released the note. Let me try that again. That was good. Let me try that again. I want to understand what caused the triggering. That's interesting. You heard that. When I lift it, it does like a release sample. But I don't want it to do a release sample because I'm already at minimum velocity. So that's what must be going on. Because the phrase has already ended. So when I release, I wonder why it still gives the release sample for a line that has already ended. But, So it's, let me try and wrap my head around that. So somehow when we go all the way down and then we release, for some reason there, when you spend more time there, it gives that release sample. Maybe that's something I'm missing. It's very likely, usually is, but maybe something to have a look at. Beautiful sounding. I love both of these vowels here. Very, very nice. Let's, does it do the phrases? So I'm guessing the phrases are no phrases. The syllables are the same for both of these. Are they? Are they different? Yeah, I don't know if it could be similar syllables, but they sound also different styles. So these have like a softer tone. Yeah, definitely sort of softer, rounder to the back. So that's cool. Very nice. Already I'm wondering whether I can control the the syllables. But I think that's what some of these syllable things are for. Because I can absolutely see that I would want to tweak those in many cases. But it doesn't seem like there's any way to do it here. I wonder if there is even a way to. So it seems like, at least as I'm playing now, that it's... why did we lose the box here in the middle that tells us... What was that? Why did we lose the box that tells us which... Oh, no, it came back. Was it there the whole time? I need to watch the playback here. I might be losing my freaking mind. It was gone, right? I'm not going crazy. This one? Jeez. Yeah, it seems like so the syllables are the same per note. That's an interesting approach. Obviously less flexibility in terms of if you want to construct your thing, but I would expect you then probably use something like a syllable builder for that, I would guess. But yeah, it's still, I mean, not that I thought, oh, I would want to change that as I was playing this, because it sounded really well paired or mapped out. And also for this, if you kind of want to like right out of the box use this in a sort of a most likely optimal fashion, I would probably, if your transitions between notes are slower, you could go with syllables, and if you want to go faster in between, you can play the quieter velocity and do the vowel in between. So, because whether the syllable works on a fast movement comes down to the syllable there. So that's kind of like my general observation of that. Going into Odyssey. True legato. Let's see how this works. So yeah, okay, red keys, they control what we have here. Legato ooh, syllables range 70 to 100. Okay, so yeah, syllables 1 and 2, 3, 4. Then got legato ah. Syllables 5, 6, and short and legato. Okay, cool. Start with ooh. So this kind of starts out, well, first of all, it's clearly quieter than Angelic. Also starts off sort of rounder, and then it kind of intensifies into that operatic style. Let me turn on the adaptive mode here. Getting a level for this is difficult because it gets super loud suddenly, so you might be a bit quieter this section. Sorry about that. Yeah, there's a big level difference between the loudest expressions of this and the quietest. So I'm trying to balance this for you, so sorry for the level being quieter right now. Yeah, I mean, this is really, 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 really good. The level issue, once we put it in the mixes, not going to be a big issue. Here in the low end, I wonder why it sort of gains a bit of like a naturally distorted sound. Kind of gains a bit of that roundness. It's like very quiet, round, and a bit of like sort of rattling at the top. I don't mean like in terms of any of the recording, but like the voice itself kind of changes a bit sort of more to the back. Maybe that's just stylistic to the style. Yeah, so here with the dynamics, there you could hear that kind of metallic rounding tone. You got to be with this more sort of operatic ending to these lines. You got to be mindful of that, because as the conflict rises when you play this note, and this in the sample itself, the singing is intensifying. It's getting louder and more expressive. But if I'm pulling that back here now, then it will sort of try and impose the quietness or the change of the dynamic into something more controlled, and that kind of creates that weird effect. So you kind of sort of need to figure out where you are in the actual recorded phrase or note, and then kind of work with it. You can't just force a loud singing expression to be, to sort of calm down. So yeah, you kind of need to let it begin to calm down first before you can pull back, at least in my estimation, for optimal sort of realism. Let's do legato A. Yeah, this is really, 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 really beautiful. It's pretty much once you begin to hear that vibrato coming in, then you can pull back the velocity if you kind of want to maintain realism here. It's a really nice blend of things, because we have that operatic edge, but especially here in the lower range, it's kind of like, yeah, dramatic, has a sort of a nice, polished, modern edge to it. It's absolutely, completely compatible with like the modern cinematic sound. That's interesting. It skips that note if I play hard enough, and it understands that it can't fit this syllable in there. So it just kind of skips it, which actually ends up obviously sounding the best and most realistic. It kind of does something there. Yeah, again here, same thing. If you're doing something super fast, better change the velocity to the lower range so you can get the vowel in between to do the fast, you know, going to a note and back. Yeah, I think that's a really nice balance that they found here. So syllables 1, range 70 to 100. So I'm guessing everything underneath is a vowel. No. Range 70 to 100. Again, there we get a bit of that limiter clipping. Yep. Yeah, that's really nice. I mean, I love every time there's a recorded phrase and you have the ability to continue the phrase but change the note and actually have it sound like it's being sung like that. Here you need to be a bit careful with the timing because you want the note to land right at a good spot of the syllable that is being kind of cycled through. So you might have to do a bit of adjustment there. But in general, I mean, wonderful concept here and works really, really nicely. I still don't know what the range here does. 70 to 100, what does that mean? Oh, is that tempo? Maybe? Well, anyway. Moving to syllables 2. Again, pretty quiet, pretty big volume differences here, but that tends to be the case with dynamic, good sounding vocal libraries, so. Very cool. Syllables 3. And there also you need to be mindful of the release points, because if you're sort of in the middle of the syllable and you let go, it's going to sound abrupt. So you got to find the right spots where you're going to taper off the ending of your MIDI note so that you don't trigger anything new here. And these are principles that that you sort of like to, in my experience, to operate ETHERA 2 at a level where you get really good realistic sounding vocals, you have to have a no, maybe that's not fair. You have to have a pretty comprehensive understanding of how these exact kind of things work, because you really need to go into the MIDI editor to adjust all these kind of minor things so that there's no overlap that triggers a new thing that you don't want to have triggered, and then you have the velocity aspect and the overlap aspect, etc. And I spent a lot of time programming those for I have an album called Dead Reckoning, and a lot of the vocals there are from ETHERA 2. So yeah, it was kind of painful. But I see like some of those same lessons here still give you insight into how this operates. And obviously this is like I said, 10 times better programmed, probably not even enough. Like this, like multitudes better in terms of the programming and how it operates than ETHERA 2. But yeah, let's play a bit more. And I love these because you can, as you're operating them, by the way, that gets really quiet, so sorry about that. Try and find a good balance here. As you play these, they kind of, as long as you have some basic understanding of this musical style, I would say, that helps a lot. You know sort of what's coming, so you can find the spots where you can change notes and not change if you know that sounds like it's going to take a bit longer or a bit less. Definitely if you have like a choir background in, especially if you've sung Latin or anything like that, or yeah, something like that, it will help a lot. Syllables 4. Super. I love how pure and effortless that is, and still powerful and sort of bright in a very nice way. Very, very impressive stuff. Let's move on to the short and legato. So I'm guessing this. Yeah, so higher velocities seem to do the short. I'm not sure how this works. When I play loud, it gives me a loud legato. No, sorry, loud, like short. When I play really quiet, this is just a legato. But how do I get those quiet shorts? Okay. So it has to be like a medium velocity. So it sounds to me like there's... Sounds to me like there's 4 different things there. Not sure how those map. Please do let me know. But again, I can probably barely manage 2 layers myself, as I don't know what it is about, like, I really like, maybe as a singer, I sort of, when I'm playing, I want to put that goddamn expression in there and play pretty forcefully. So It's too much to ask for me to actually be a half decent player. Moving into vocal phrases. So here is where we can't just do absolutely everything we want, which is to play absolutely all of these. But we'll just have to sample randomly from things. I will say that my experience with the phrases has been nothing but positive. They're of tremendous quality, fantastic ideas, fantastic creatively. They sound authentic, stylistic-wise, completely like believable and appropriate. And you just get a crap ton of them. So it's like you have this arsenal to pretty much cater to your needs. So yeah, it's pretty no-brainer and good stuff. So red keys here, intervals. Okay, red keys here give you different phrase categories or boxes. They are simply in numbers. So they go up to 16. So you can probably understand why we are not going to cover all of these. Also, you get a key there. So we go B, A, G, F, which makes sense because they're mapped to the actual corresponding keys. Well, almost. Also got B minor. Okay, so I'm assuming those are in major then. And here we have more stuff in C minor and D minor, and that's why we got more keys for them. And also you get the BPM at the end, which seems to be 85 BPM all across the board. And then we have intervals, which are fifths, 85 BPM. Green ones probably play the sample. So that was clipping from the limiter. Again, so this what I like about this as well is that this is a super simple phrase. Again, it's just one. We're dealing with the intervals here. So these are really nice. You could do these with the true legato as well, because that's the quality that we're dealing with here. So they're as good as these ones as well. But there might be some textural differences, might be, some percentage-wise smoother, and maybe you want to use them. But what I like about these is that these are basic building blocks, especially the intervals here, which I think is actually a genius inclusion. And now that I think about it, not included enough in vocal libraries, because these allow you to really, assemble different melody lines simply based on the intervals. So let's play a few of those. Well, I guess these are only the fifths, so it's kind of limited in that way. But in principle, I still think that the concept is solid. I don't know if they probably don't seem to have anything else here beyond fifths. Would be actually really cool to have like an interval bank where you could assemble different vocal performances from phrases based on simply intervals. That would be super nice. You get the idea. What do these purple ones do? Okay, so we got some drone action here. Again, this is something when I open a vocal phrase thing, I don't expect to be finding this kind of stuff in here. Shit, yeah. It's, things get loud. That's the limiter. Beautiful sounding. Let's try that again. Yeah, I mean, that's just how it is, you know. Really good stuff. So yeah, fifths. Then we have, let's do a few random here. This is C minor, it seems, and yeah, I mean, I'm just going to do it again because this is just like bonkers, no-brainer good. I mean, these phrases are so everything comes together beautiful. They're so sophisticated, so mature, beautifully performed and planned and written and executed. So you get the idea here. You got 16 banks of this stuff. Let's just do F minor here. Randomly, just something. What I'm wondering here, whether is, let's do D. Sorry for the clipping. Things get pretty intensive. Obviously, as the key changes, you've got to change the drone as well, unlike what I just did. Yeah, super cool. And let's do G. Yeah, I mean, these are seriously really, really good. A kind of interesting vibe in being the major key with the dark drones. It's kind of like a nice juxtaposition there. But you get the idea with the phrases. I mean, these are just incredible quality. Just randomly sampling something from here. Fantastic. Again, I would just start with the key that you're working in, obviously. You can use stuff from different keys as well, as long as you pitch it. But it's a good way to start. Probably you're going to find stuff in there that's, good. And if not, then go to the keys next to the key you're in. So it's the pitching is probably going to work out the best that way. Polysyllables. Expressive. This is a super intimidating looking window, which makes me want to go here. Where are you? There we go. The next instruments are designed to provide a set of polyphonic syllables. Extremely user-friendly. I'll be the judge of that. This tool lets you create evocative atmospheres, even choral ones. At every step, you can select from a different range of articulations, each with its own expressive qualities. There's also a version called short syllables. In this instrument, the syllables are static without any phrasing, and it comes with 3 dynamic levels. There's also multi-instrument available. Cool. Change step occurs with every key release. If desired, you can select the specific step using the red key switches assigned to each step. Cool. And then we have a woman who's not wearing a lot of clothes. So let's go back in here. Okay, let's try and find out how this works. So as I change a note, it goes forward in this field here. But depending on the pitch that I'm playing, it's actually playing that pitch as well. We're gonna raise this level here considerably. Yeah. Again, the level differences here pretty big. So with the red, as they state, you can go to specific steps, or if you stay in blue, it will just play the next one, and you can focus on your melody. Probably my preferred range there. What I don't quite grasp here is how do we... Okay, you got to select the step, I guess, and go, yeah, in the box in the middle. And then let's just do something that doesn't seem like... Let's reset this thing. And let's see how it works. The limiter gets pretty loud, those high notes. So again, here the biggest thing that you're sort of fighting is what I talked about with the syllables, because the syllable is obviously a recording of basically a predetermined selection of consonants and vowels. And if you try and transition away from it in an unnatural position, like in the middle of a consonant, for example, that's going to sound like crap because it doesn't sound realistic. So basically what I would intuitively do is write my melody part that I want to do with a vocal, and then basically a lot of this is going to work out of the box. And then when you find the syllable that doesn't work for the part, you go in there individually and then change it for something else that does work. And this way you can reverse engineer how it will, work for your part. Obviously, another one is to go one by one and select things from here that work, but that's a lot of work, or it requires you to know these things thoroughly, really, really well. You can obviously do it and build it one by one. And also one of the things you want to explore is the slight MIDI note duration, because if you might have the right sort of syllable in there, but you could have the wrong note length, which triggers too much of the syllable. So those are some of the ways you can configure this to sound better. Actually, looking at this, I'm surprised how well the syllable stuff worked in the Angelic and Odyssey thing, and it kind of makes me think I would probably maybe use that more in most cases. Obviously, it doesn't allow you to customize these things in here. So then again, this is this is like, I think, a must-have or like a super useful thing to have here. Obviously, the interface here is super bare bones. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but yeah, you just it can be a bit sort of brutish on the eye to kind of work with. But yeah, you click the step you want to be in and you change whatever you might want to change. You can also randomize here, which is really cool. Reset note, I guess it's this one here, right? Yep. So if I play something, the reset note always takes the sequence back to the beginning. Super useful. And that's really nice if you have like a sentence you want to repeat. Also, I might even use that, like if I have a vocal part and I have individual sentence, I might even use, just to make it kind of easier and simpler and clearer, at least to me, use multiple instances of these and construct the sentences that way, because the likelihood that these 16 steps are gonna match the intention of the entire vocal part that you want to have for your track is probably pretty unlikely. And you also might want to start some of those phrases from, let's say, step 9 or step 12. Then multiple instances are probably easier to work with. But again, this is great. Sounds really good. The main thing is be conscious of when you trigger into the next syllable and what that syllable is, because it makes a huge, massive difference. But this is really like a massive, like, workhorse, super important thing. Polysyllables short. I'm getting CPU spikes here. Could be just doing too many things on my system, but so this just gives you a kind of a different vibe, a different mode, because the syllables are obviously sort of more lyrical, more complex, more sort of flowy. These are simpler, and they obviously give you what do you call this? Ma, se, tu, vi, lo, te. You know, there's short, simple not syllables. I don't know what to call these. This is cool. It gives you a certain kind of a style, and also you could mix and match these. Use the shorts in between some of the syllable expressive stuff, so you can sort of stitch together your perfect vocal part. Cool. Again, you can randomize or clear the whole thing. Very nice. Oh, okay, so random can also include empty steps. That's interesting. All right, going into the texture designer, let's make sure we have the whole interface in view here. We do. Nice. Interested in hearing what this sounds like. cool, interesting stuff here. So apparently we have a motion layer, A and B. In here you can load up anything that's in here. Are these the same? Yep, same content looks like. And then you got a hybrid texture folder, which apparently loads up also. Wait a minute. Hybrid texture. Oh, okay, I see. So they're all, the layers are the same. You can just load in a different thing in here. Is there a randomize button for these? That would be cool. No, as far as I can tell. So this is interesting because it's pitch based. I'm not sure how, like what it specifically, because it's pitch based. So, okay, so I can click on that box. Attack, decay, sustain, release, loop size. Good, we got the loop image here, which is super useful. Right. Okay. I like that. Can we... Yeah, we still doesn't look like this is randomizable. Yeah, what I'm thinking about is if I have one layer, so I'm going to turn off these 2 and 3, and this is only motion B. So it just seems like it's different tracked content for each key. Seems like that's a lot of stuff to do, first of all. Let's combine something randomly here. Let's do melismatic. Let's do... soft ooh-ah, and then granular A. Yeah, this is really cool. I'm sort of left wanting a bit more from this kind of interface. This, first of all, it's very clear to me that the source content is absolutely amazing here. Okay, you got macro 1 and 2, and you can, okay, this has some panning in there, 16th triplet. Okay, some EQ, macro 1, loop start 4th. Okay, interesting. I wish this interface was a bit more engaging and also had certain ways. Because the thing here, you just got to start experimenting to get in here. Let's do random syllables. Whisper syllables, motion C. Yeah, I mean, it's super cool, really beautiful. I'm really impressed by just like randomly putting stuff together here. Gives you those kind of results, but it speaks to the brilliance of the ideas that are here. The vocal performances, obviously, but the ideas behind those, just the sense of how different approaches contribute to musical results when you sort of just throw them in someone else's hands here. Again, I think this engine has this is always a very simple configuration here. I'm sort of wanting more interfacing abilities with it and more intuitiveness. This is obviously very bare bones in that sense, but the stuff here sounds beautiful. I'm sure once you get to know all of these different things that you can load up in here, this can be super, super tremendous. And then I guess different ways in which these sort of interact with one another. Yeah, I mean, they seem to flow really well together, and I think much of that comes from the brilliance in the ideas behind these and how they're created and captured. But yeah, it just makes me want more, because I don't feel like I can really get my hands on this in a sort of a more engaging creative way. What the hell? Oh, okay, that's a solo button. Good to know. Doesn't say anything. Cool. Yeah, I mean, beautiful sounding. I just wish this could probably be a bit more developed on the interface side. Okay, texture designer presets. I'm really happy I found this at this stage, but I can only blame myself. So these ones are in here. I wonder if I just load them up. Yep, works. Well, they say preset, but then there's only one thing loaded in one layer. But these obviously do have some programming here, I guess. Maybe. That looks pretty similar-ish. Let's see. Yeah, beautiful. So yeah, presets are simply just one thing loaded up in one bar, which has the same name. So I don't know how much of a preset that is, but I'm sure the effects and other stuff are sort of custom tuned to those. Nani. I'm sure I heard Nani in there. That gets pretty loud. Let's get quiet. Very cool. Yeah, I think they seem to just load up one thing there. So I'm not sure how that's... I mean, if they adjust the effects in there, seems like that qualifies as a preset, I guess. Cool. And then you do have the syllables multi, but I don't think we're gonna do that to ourselves, because it just it's a multi of the syllable builder there as well. And it looks like we went through the whole thing. Just to double check with the presets, we got the data in here. Cool. And then the image installer file as well, which I didn't manage to crack. I didn't want to break this so I could actually do this demo, but let's see if I can find that cog that they were talking about. Cool. So let's summarize our thoughts on this thing. Again, overall, extremely positive. I mean, I love the ETHERA lineup. I think pretty much every single release after 2.0 has been amazing, and they have been getting better and better. What I also sense here is sort of slight refinements in the Legato front, like a bit, like a few new ideas in there. Sort of more sophistication, more polish on that front, which I'm really happy to see. And from a development standpoint, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, if they tried to do something very different, there's a good chance of breaking it. And since it's been such an upward trajectory for such a long time with these releases, like I remember still being very surprised, obviously positively, but very surprised at the speed of how they managed to improve the libraries. Like they always sounded fantastic, but they would just improve the programming, all these. I mean, the kind of the fidelity of it, the quality of it just got better and better, and the playability certainly got a lot better, and just everything else. Also, the creative ideas, the tracking behind it. So this very much continues in that path, but I feel like there's been an even higher level on that sort of tech or that development front where this is going. Obviously, not a massive library, but I mean, what it offers, it does at a very, very high level. Angelic True Legato, Odyssey True Legato, both absolutely fantastic sounding. I do enjoy the syllable meeting the legato approach in the same patch, although for whatever neurological reason why I struggle to control my velocities when it comes to solo singing voices. I don't know. I should probably see some therapist or a doctor regarding that, but just because I'm a shitty player at that when it comes to those kind of things for whatever reason. I don't know why it happens on that one, but anyway, usually pretty good at controlling my velocities otherwise. Yeah, fantastic. The syllables meeting the legato is really good. Again, one of the main things here is to really be mindful of the structure of the syllable in question, because if you try and do things that are sort of cutting the syllables short or in midway, it's going to sound abrupt. So you have to kind of understand that basic principle. But once you do, then these libraries just kind of open up to you, and they sound really, really good. Also, when you're using the legatos and going from syllables to legatos, I think the way to do that is when you're going in fast notes in between, go with the legato, go with the vowels, rather, is what I'm trying to say. Go with the vowels in between where you're doing faster notes. So use the quieter velocity or the lower velocity to do that, because it sounds just better. But a really cool thing nonetheless. And even if you can't play it, you can do it in your MIDI editor. Vocal phrases, just bonkers good. Again, I always say this, but like a no-brainer, 10 out of 10. Great ideas, great performance, great tracking. They are modular enough so that you can take bits and pieces that you want and use them in your track. You would struggle not to find, I mean, as long as this musical style in general lends itself well to the music you're trying to make, you would struggle not to find the thing that you're looking for. And yeah, they're just bonkers good. And like I said, modular enough to piece together whatever you want. And also I was really impressed by how the true legato, just playing it, could reach a lot of the realism and the subtleness and the authenticity of the phrases itself, which speaks a lot to where we are sort of at right now with sampling in general, and certainly where the ETHERA lineup is on that front. Really did enjoy the syllable builder, or it's called polysyllables here. Again, same thing here. You got to be mindful of the syllables that you're using. That's really the key to this. You need to find the perfect combination of things, what syllable goes where, and how long the duration of that is and isn't. And that's going to be the key to whether it sounds realistic or not. Texture Designer, really loved how that worked. Super, super simple, sort of kind of bare bones from a engine point of view. But it just, I think the content, the samples that are actually in there are so well done and so well paired and so well thought through that even when the engine is kind of super simple, they still sound fantastic. And when we just randomly combined stuff in there, it still sounded absolutely stellar. I wish the designer was a bit more, I didn't feel like I wanted to sort of get my hands in there and like play with it and do, like, I wish it had more ways of putting the samples together in various creative ways. But again, how well it works really speaks to how good those samples are, both creatively and how they're executed. So, yeah, I think that's about it. They also released an Atlantis 3.5 update as well. I'm going to have a look at what's in there. And if it's kind of significant enough, then I'll do a video on it. I don't usually do videos on updates, but if it's, big enough, considerable enough, I'll certainly try and make a video on it if I can. But that's something you should also know and keep in mind in case that's something you're interested in. Because, that also is a fantastic library already when it was released. So, and this should be like a really, really big update. So now that I think about it, it seems actually super appealing and interesting. So, but I'm at least going to have a look at what's in there, and we're gonna go from there. All right, cool. This is it for this video. If you have this at home or at your studio, let me know what you think. And certainly, as always, let me know what you think of this video. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Finished.